The Ottoman Empire, known for its grandeur and splendor, hides a dark history that remains a largely unspoken chapter of its past. For centuries, the Ottomans traded in European women and men, subjecting them to a life of unimaginable horrors as sex slaves. This practice was not only a profitable business for the Ottomans, but also a means of asserting their dominance over their European rivals. In this video, we will delve into the brutal reality of white sexual slavery in the Ottoman Empire, exploring its origins and its devastating impact on the lives of countless people. Brace yourself for a journey through a dark and disturbing chapter of history that has been hidden for far too long. The phrase white slave trade may sound like a term from a bygone era, but it actually originated in the Ottoman Empire in the late 19th century. The government knew about the exploitation of polygamy and forced prostitution, but they were worried about it causing problems for them on an international level. They tried to keep it a secret, but foreign newspapers often reported on the trafficking of European women, which was especially bad in Constantinople. The Ottoman Empire was trying to establish better relations with Western powers, so the last thing they needed was the scandal of white women being bought and sold on their soil. Regardless, the fear of consequences did not tone down their actions. But, unlike in North America, the Ottoman slave trade was governed by Islamic rules and principles, which gave slaves certain rights that were typically respected, even if they weren't universally accepted. For instance, if you were a freeborn Muslim, you were exempt from being enslaved. As a result of such rules, the majority of slaves in the Ottoman Empire were brought in from outside the empire or from non-Muslim societies. Accordingly, Ottomans still established an original and complex slavery system and circulated slaves throughout the continents. In their system, men were prized for their strength and muscles, and women were rated for their fair skin tone and beauty. However, the price of a slave could increase depending on their skills and abilities. Those who knew how to play musical instruments, speak foreign languages, or excel in household chores were in high demand and could fetch a higher price. Yet, what many customers wanted most in a female slave was youth and beauty. Female captives, called jariye or halayik, became victims of sexual abuse at the hands of both slave merchants and owners, with some even being forced into prostitution. Can you imagine being treated as property and having no say in how your body is used? That was the reality for female white captives in the Ottoman Empire. They could be used as household servants, concubines, or even sold to others. But it gets worse. If a man was interested in a captive as a concubine, he would thoroughly examine her body to ensure she met his standards. And if anyone objected, they would face severe punishment. What's even more shocking is that a nurse would verify the girl's virginity, which could significantly increase her price. Surprisingly, if these girls weren't sold for prostitution, they were often used to fulfill their owners' desires in their harems. So, their virginity was critical to their master. If a merchant did have a sexual relationship with a captive, she would become his odalisque, meaning she would be elevated to a higher status in his household. Fascinatingly, the early female slave trade was fueled by the sale of females from Eastern Europe to the Orient. The majority of victims were women from the European underclass in former Polish territories, captured and traded by procurers known as kaftans. Also, it wasn't just limited to the East. By the beginning of the 19th century, white slavery had emerged in the West too. The constant flow of slaves produced by merchants included men as well, but most of them were women. And the targets of these merchants were often women without families or relations. Interestingly, Circassia served as a major source of slaves during the 19th century for the Ottoman Empire. Due to ongoing unrest and pressure from Russian officials, many people fled to Ottoman lands in search of safety, only to be caught up in the slavery system. And with war booty becoming increasingly rare, the Ottomans turned to the human trade as a lucrative source of income. When they set their sights on the beautiful Circassian women, they knew they had struck gold. Regardless of such discoveries, it is still believed that the Ottoman Empire's slave trade had a milder side. Some of the masters married their female slaves to help them escape the life of poverty. But at the end of the day, let us not forget, it was still a system of exploitation based on the expense of innocent people. We just uncovered the dark history of white sexual slavery in the Ottoman Empire, but now let's look at the unthinkable atrocities of the Nanking Massacre. Our investigations into the past continue. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating stories from history.